Hey, Seth David here from the world famous Nerd Enterprises Incorporated, and in this edition of Nerd's Guide to the Galaxy, we're talking about how you can use Bublup to quickly convert an email into a beautiful PDF file. And from there, it's very easy to share it. You can download it, add it into whatever other application you use, and so on and so forth. Now, where's this coming from? Well, some applications are better than others about, being able to forward emails in and deal with them. A lot of applications, Slack, for example, I can forward emails. Each Slack user can get their own unique email address for that Slack workspace that you can forward emails to, and it will render as an email in the Slack workspace. It's not quite a PDF, but it renders something that's visually appealing. It retains the formatting. That's most important. So Notion, by contrast, doesn't have a good way to get emails into Notion. Why is this important? Because oftentimes an email I get will really represent a task or a project that I need to complete for a client, and I want the completely preserved version of that email right there in Notion, for example, where I'm taking notes, where I'm keeping track of what I'm doing, what needs to be done, capturing, clarifying, and organizing all the information around that task or project. I want it there visually, and of course I want a quick way back to that email when the time comes so I can bang that reply button and get back to my client and let them know what the status is, what the update is, what have you. Notion just doesn't have a good way to do this. There is a Gmail plugin that works horribly. It's got 2.5 stars in its ratings because it works horribly. It just doesn't do a good job. It can only deal with plain text. You get a very garbled and very difficult to... It basically, you're better off not having the email in there at all. Let's put it that way with the process that Notion has. I wish Notion's web clipper would simply clip the emails the same way it does any other web page. That would work beautifully. So Notion, if you're out there and you're listening, please, strong feedback for your product. It would be amazing if we had a much better process or any process at all that was useful for getting emails into Notion. Now, Bublup, mind you, does a lot more, but the way I'm looking at this is you might start out working with Bublup for a use case like this because, again, Bublup handles this beautifully and gives you lots of ways that you can deal with that once it's been forwarded in. So let me show you what I'm talking about, and then we can talk a little bit about some additional use cases. Now, I've got a link in the write-up to create an account with Bublup. It is an affiliate link of sorts. I don't get paid, but they do increase my storage if you use my link to set up your Bublup account. So please take advantage of that. And I'm in the My Info area under Save Emails to Bublup. And the first thing you'll have to do is tell it which emails are authorized to send emails into your Bublup account. So this way, nobody else but me right now can send emails into my Bublup account. After that, you're simply going to forward emails to your username at mybublup.com. And of course, what I've done is I've added that into my Gmail as a contact. So as quickly as I can hit the forward button and type the first few letters of the email address, I can forward an email into Bublup. So let's see what this looks like. I'm just going to grab a quick example here. So let's say I wanted to follow up on this How to Geek newsletter that I've gotten here. By the way, they share a lot of great stuff, so I highly encourage subscribing to them. So we're just going to say forward, and I'm going to enter in the Bublup email forward. See how I did that with my contact? I just called it Bublup email forward. I'm going to pull out my signature crap because I don't need that in here. Okay, and I'm going to hit send. Okay, and the only reason this works, again, is that email is coming from my email address. And so it's going to show up. So where does it go? If I go up to my stuff, I'm already here in emails. Let me back up a step. So you have some kind of default sections here, right? When you're clipping things off the web, it gives you a quick way to just add it to review later. And then there's the email section. So I can click into here, and that email might take a minute, just like any email going from any server. Plus, I have the setting in Gmail that gives me a certain amount of time, I forget how long, where I can pull back the email. I can undo it before it actually gets sent. So, it's going to take maybe 30 to 60 seconds before it shows up here. Once it does, it looks like this, and you'll notice a little PDF icon here at the bottom left. That kind of tells me that this is a PDF document. And it's a beautiful, clean document. I'm going to click on, there it is. It just showed up. So perfect. So I'll just click on the little PDF icon. And you'll see it takes me to a URL, which is an actual PDF that I can download. And it's beautifully formatted, right? I've lost nothing in the formatting and the translation. I tried, by the way, just taking an email like this and printing it directly out of Gmail, and it'll clip it. You won't get all of this. Like, look at this. I've got everything. Nothing was lost in translation on this. It's got the whole thing. If there's a long thread in the email that you forwarded, I've tested this, it renders beautifully. And of course, I could take this whole URL and send it to somebody, but there's more. But wait, there's more. If I go back to the email section in Bublup, first of all, in case you're wondering, it's very easy to move these around now. So I can move this. Let's say I wanted it in a particular client folder. I've created folders just kind of as an example for different clients, so I could quickly and easily move it, elsewhere. But in terms of sharing, if I right-click this and choose Share, I'll just copy the shareable link, right? You can see you can easily share it via social. I'll copy shareable link. Let's open up a new tab and paste that in. And you'll see this renders a little differently. It's like a nicely organized page that I could share with somebody and say, hey, here's a PDF of this email, and here's a download option. So from here, anybody that I've shared this with can download it. Notice it opens up beautifully as a PDF. I'll pull that in from my other screen. So it's a true PDF file. And now, of course, I can do whatever I want to do, whatever I might want to do with any kind of PDF, right? But again, nothing gets lost in translation here. It all looks beautiful. And now, of course, if I wanted to, I could handle this one of two ways in terms of my Notion use case. I could simply take the link, right? I could take this whole link directly here, and let's say I go into Notion, and let's say I've created a database just to capture emails, right? This will be really quick. I can just paste that URL in here. It says embed PDF. Boom, done, right? I can call this How to Geek. So really in very short order, without too much friction, even though it would be much nicer to be able to just forward an email into Notion, as long as they lack that capability still, this is a pretty close second if you ask me. Plus, as I mentioned, if you start playing around with Bublup, you're going to find you really like it. It is probably the best app out there in terms of visuals for just capturing things off the web and organizing them. I've seen people do all kinds of like what they call mood boards, and so there are personal use cases like that where, let's say you're moving into a new place and you want to capture different examples of furniture, decor, whatever. It's great for that kind of thing. But as I said, and I don't do this myself. I'd consider it for sure. But as an example, I said, let me set up a clients folder, and you can customize these tiles and the images. Again, it's very visual. I go in here and I have kind of subfolders for each client, right? Here are some of my clients that I put in here as examples, right? This client is one that I do CFO work for, so I've got his forecasts in here. And if I click in, I've just been playing around to see what this would look like if I were to do this with Bublup. It has a nice Google Docs integration, so I could just easily add a Google document. If I create a Google document from here, it sticks it in my Drive folder, and then of course I can move that anywhere I want. And here are just some notes. So like I'll put in, say, here are the updates I need to make to his forecast next time I'm updating them. Here are monthly updates. So these are notes. Then there's checklists where it's just that. You have check boxes so I can list out items that I need to do as a reminder, and so on and so forth. So the use case for managing your, for work management, for managing your workload is definitely there with Bublup. I use Notion for that, but I am definitely continuing to play around with ways that I can sort of incorporate Bublup into my workflow because it's such a cool app and it's so visually appealing. I might be inclined to preserve the emails here or maybe find some other way of organizing them while also bringing them over here to Notion. To me, for what I just showed you, it doesn't take more than 2 seconds to get that email. Well, maybe more than 2 seconds, but you get the idea. Once the email renders here in Bublup, it doesn't take more than 2 seconds to grab that share link and stick it anywhere in Notion that I want. And as you saw here, I can embed that PDF directly off of that URL. And Notion handles embeds like this beautifully. And again, all there, right? And over here, I can view the original, download it. Anything I need to do, I can do now from right here in Notion. That, my friends, is my story, and I'm sticking to it. And by the way, if you have any questions or takeaways, I would love to hear your takeaways on stuff like this. Please join our community. The link is right there under our Galaxy in the navigation to join the community and or access the community in case you've already joined it. And I have an area in there for articles on Guide to the Galaxy, where you can, any article that you've come across in our Guide to the Galaxy, you can comment, you can just obviously mention the article you're referring to, link to it, so there's no question what you're talking about, and let me know what your takeaways are, and definitely let me know if you have any questions or thoughts or ideas or anything I can help you with, especially if you've watched this video and you've decided, hey, I would love to dig more into Bublup and see what I can do with it, see how it can help me with my firm's productivities and workflows. It is an awesome tool for that purpose, and I am kind of on the hunt now for more and more use cases for it that don't sort of overlap or take away from what I'm already doing elsewhere that already works. That, again, is my story, and I'm sticking to it, as always. I hope you had some fun, learned something along the way. I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day, and I look forward to seeing you in the galaxy.